Hi everyone, welcome to WW Designs. My name is Nikki and I am back from my 1-week cruise around the South Pacific. So I thought I would show you the journaling pages I did partly whilst I was on board the cruise, and then I finished them off when I got home. This little shell and all these little tiny treasures I found whilst I was away, including this very little gorgeous one. Have a look how cute it is. I've never got one that's that complete. And I managed to get it home safely, which was wonderful. So if you watched, was it my last video? Or no, the one before that, I showed you everything I took with me to do journaling with. And I'm very pleased to say I used virtually everything that was in it. Now, the only thing that sort of happened that I noticed on the way, normally when you go on a holiday overseas or locally, you hunt for ephemera to put into your journal as part of your memory keeping. This entire trip, I did not see a single brochure, flyer, anything. So I've had to do all my pages on my own. And of course, the other thing is, I did not do a separate travel journal. I use a Wonderland 222 B6 notebook to do all of my journaling in. And as I did with my holiday last year, instead of doing a separate journal, I just do all of my holiday journaling in my main journal. The main reason being because I do my daily journaling, like, you know, every day, every week. If I did this and also did a separate travel journal, then I'd be doing a lot of doubling up, and I really can't see the point of that. So I don't. I just do my journaling in my main journal. So of course I use this as a little bookmark. This was a tag, the first one I made for my Merakai Desks May tag challenge. Includes a little picture of the ship, includes the area we went to from Brisbane, and this is where my journaling starts. So this image here I got off one of the AI Facebook groups that I joined, and I thought that was sort of perfect to put on my cover page. We've got a few waves. The ocean is definitely calling. It's my happy place, so cruising is my ideal holiday. And of course, a little mermaid, because it's May, we do mermaids, so had to include a mermaid's tail. So this is the start of it all. From Brisbane on the 3rd of May. This is from my mermaid journal kit that I have on my Ko-fi site. This is a sticker from the last cruise I went on, which was pre-COVID. A group of us planner girls, I think 10 of us went on a cruise from Brisbane up to Airlie Beach and back, and one of the lovely ladies made us this kit, which I never used at all, so I made sure I got that in. And the stencil that I took with my distress ink, I used for all the days we were having sea days. Then when you get on board, you of course get a little like a notice, a flyer, you know, that lets you know everything that's going on. So I cut that apart for these bits. That was sort of the only ephemera bits I actually got to use. So, of course, we went with P&O. The newsletter is called Good Times. This is our itinerary, including the dress-up nights and things like that. And, of course, you start with the sail-away party on the first day. The first night for dinner, we went to a restaurant called Luke's. It's a pay restaurant. All the other restaurants, other than the Trattoria, are all included in your fare. But I'd heard about this $75 embarkation dinner, and honestly, it was the most delightful thing, and we are so glad we spent the money on it. I had za'atar homemade bread with a dukkha dip. I had the kingfish sashimi, which was delightful. I had a Darling Downs eye fillet with béarnaise sauce, maple roasted pumpkin, and some fries and some green beans. and a vanilla creme brulee. And we even had a glass of Merlot included. Honestly, that was a 10 out of 10 dinner, and we are so glad we did it. The next morning at 6 a.m, the captain makes an announcement that we have detoured off our course to answer a mayday call. So yes, we did a sharp left and went about an hour and a half out of our way. And this is not the best photo, but it's the one I could take. It was, day had not broken yet. This happened about an hour later. There was a catamaran out in the water. They issued a mayday call. Apparently their engine had failed due to no power. They did not have a spare battery. They were also in gale force winds and decided to try sailing out of this mess, and they completely shredded their sail. So this vessel is on its way down and would now be way down in the bottom of the ocean. And 3 people, 2 men and a woman, we rescued, and they sailed with us to Noumea. I found out later they actually had come from Noumea and were heading, I don't know if they were heading to Australia. It's quite possible, because we were, I think, only about 260 nautical miles out of Brisbane when this happened. So that was very exciting. I was very lucky that the balcony cabin I had chosen, when I heard the announcement, I straight away raced outside to see if there was anything to see, and literally right in front of our balcony was the stricken vessel. So I was very lucky to catch that memory. If I'd been on the other side of the ship, I would have seen absolutely nothing. And as I said, it was about an hour later that the sun truly started to come up. So that was a very interesting way to start our cruise, but a very good feeling way is that we saved the lives probably of these 3 people. Apparently there were no other vessels close by. So interesting way to start our cruise. The next day we had breakfast, of course. Then we spent most of the day out the back of the P&O Pacific Encounter is an area called the Oasis, which is an adults only zone. It has 2 levels, a bar and a pool. So we spent a lot of time sitting out there when we had free time. Had a bite to eat for lunch whilst we were there, and then we booked ourselves into a cocktail tasting, which was a lot of fun. But my gosh, you get 4 cocktails in a very short space of time. I've rated them, the 4 out of 10, 6 out of 10, 8 out of 10, and then 9 out of 10. Didn't really like this one. They made me my own because I can't do cinnamon. It makes me quite ill. And so I wasn't in love with that one, but I had never tasted these 4 drinks before. So that was a really fun way to spend some time in the afternoon. Then for dinner that night, we went to Dragon Lady, which was probably my favourite of the included restaurants. I love all things Asian, and this restaurant, the decor is just stunning. It's black with a little bit of white and a hint of red. This photo doesn't really do it justice, but it does catch the vibe of it. And this dessert was honestly delightful. It is little warm mini vanilla custard puffs with a green tea ice cream. Honestly, I wish I could eat that every day of my life. It was fabulous. Then after dinner, we went to see one of the included shows that cost us nothing, and it was simply called 7. It's based on the 7 sins: envy, wrath, greed, pride, gluttony, lust, and sloth. It had the most fantastic sets, the most fantastic costumes. The singing and songs were absolutely delightful, and I couldn't figure out how or what I could do to remember this by. So I just did a 7 and added the colours that they used, and that's to remember that absolutely fabulous show. Then the next morning well, actually, it wasn't morning. It was actually the afternoon. It takes like a day and a half to get out to New Caledonia or to Noumea. So we didn't get there till about 2 o'clock, but it was the most stunningly warm day. Welcome to New Caledonia. I was hoping to, apparently they have in the past had brochures. They have a centre for cruise arrivals, and there was a lovely market up the top, and we had to wander around that, and I bought a couple of fabulous packs of stamps. It was only $2 for these 2 packs of New Caledonian stamps, so I grabbed those. But apparently there used to be brochures and maps and everything there, but I couldn't find anything. So I took a photo of the welcome sign, and then, of course, in there is our details. It was 25 degrees, sunny. It felt a lot warmer than that. It was absolutely beautiful. So then we got on to the hop-on, hop-off bus. It costs 15 Australian dollars, and it goes to a variety of stops and then comes back and just keeps going in a circle. So seeing we didn't arrive until the afternoon, I didn't want to venture too far away. But I had heard that one of the most beautiful places you can go to is Lemon Bay, and that's one of the stops. So we went to Lemon Bay, had a walk, I put my feet into the water. I was sorry I didn't bring my togs. That's where I found all these delightful little goodies here. I could have spent hours doing that. But never mind, we went to Lemon Bay. We walked up and down, because in the heart of Noumea on a Sunday, nothing is open. But down at Lemon Bay, there is just a whole street full of restaurants. They are all open. We ended up picking La Barca, which was a Mexican-themed restaurant slash bar. Had beautiful wooden, timber, multicolour painted deck chairs and tables and all sorts of things. We managed to score one right at the front, and I know it might be a little bit hard to see here through those cars, but that's Lemon Bay. And this is Lemon Bay if I stood on the other side of the cars. So we sat there with our Mai Tais. We watched the sun go down over this delightfully calm, absolutely stunning bay, and we ended up then hopping back on the bus, made it back in time for dinner, and we were meant to push off at 9 p.m. And we pushed off, and we were maybe 10, 15 metres away from the wharf, about to be backed out, and lo and behold, the engines were cut. They were then reversed, and back to the dock we went. We had a medical emergency on board. So it took about an hour. Obviously, they had to pack up her bags and all that sort of thing. They had a doctor come along and assess her, and it was decided she was not good to travel. She was quite young. I saw her get taken out to the ambulance, but she was only in a wheelchair. She was not on a bed. So I'm hoping she's fine, and she certainly wasn't too sick. They certainly didn't have to take her out on a stretcher or anything, so that was a good thing. But we were about an hour late, and then we backed off and headed on our way to our next stop, which was Leafue. So Leafue is also part of New Caledonia. It is just a delightful island with very little on it. Thankfully, over the years, thanks to tourism and the money we pour into this island when we come along and other cruises, they have built a beautiful set of change rooms and toilets that they keep beautifully clean. There's an area there where you can have a massage or get your hair braided. There's a bar, so we had a nice cold beer while we were there. But I spent the day snorkeling. Oh, now what's this little bit of stuck thing? Oh, that was a bit of glue or something. This is another gorgeous little image that I got from another one of the AI Facebook groups I've joined. And I just thought that pretty much represents me. I'm not 25 anymore, even though I'm not grey, but that's beside the point. This was me, just gleeful to be able to spend the day snorkeling, where we had to go over by tender boats, and then they have a wharf. I just snorkeled to the right-hand side of the wharf. I cannot tell you how many fish I saw. The coral wasn't stunning. I saw a few very pretty pink ones. The rest of it was quite brown. But I saw so many fish that I actually tried to write them all down, and I lost count, the different varieties I saw. And I had a turtle about that big swim right passed in front of me. That literally made my day. That I was basically crying. It was fabulous. So yes, I spent the whole day here underwater. We went back on board about 2:30, had a little bite to eat, and then can't remember where we went for dinner. I didn't even bother to write that down, but it doesn't matter. I think we had Italian Angelo's that night. I've just realised I forgot to write that in there, but honestly, it doesn't matter. I saw a turtle, lots of fish, did my snorkeling. I had my own snorkel and mask and fins, which I took. So that was just the most magical day. So then, of course, we set sail again, and during the night, we managed to make it to Port Vila, which is our next stop. We were there, we had a day tour booked. I found a recommendation in one of the Facebook groups that I joined about P&O cruising, and we ended up organising the same itinerary. I've got this gorgeous little tropical iguana that was having fun walking over the back of my shoulders. We went into it's a turtle rescue centre. They have a large rock pool where injured turtles live in to recuperate, and then as soon as they're ready to be sent back out into the ocean is literally on the other side of a fence, but this water is continually fed fresh water from natural flow of the ocean. And this big guy, honestly, he was massive. He came up and my feet were literally right there, and he was in front of me. I didn't have to do any zooming, and that's just one of the glorious photos I got. And then I've just filled this page up with a bit of tropical stuff, because honestly, that's what it's all about. Our next stop was the famous Blue Lagoon. It is beautiful. It was very busy there because lots of us went to the Blue Lagoon, but we did go in for a swim. It's fresh water. It's cool. It's rather delightful. We then had a big fresh fruit smorgasbord that my little tour company that I went with put on for us, which was delightful. And then we went to Banana Bay for lunch. I loved this in their foyer. It's just a picture of their exact geographical coordinates. So I actually did add the coordinates into the other pages that I've done. And this is the view. They have that. You cannot swim in this ocean here. It looks relatively calm here, but it's quite rough. And this is all just rock and coral. It's very, very dangerous. But fed naturally into here is a big rock pool that has all sand at the bottom. Lots of pretty little fish were swimming in there merrily. And we had a beautiful barbecue lunch and found out that the Banana Bay Beach Club is actually run by an Aussie mother and daughter team who were absolutely delightful and beautiful hosts. And they have all these paths in front of this here, and they have all these little areas where you can grab your food, go and grab a table, and then you just sit there, and the vista is beyond delightful. So that was absolutely fabulous. So had a great day in Port Vila, and it was fun because I've been to Port Vila probably about this would be my 6th visit. Back in my travel industry days, we used to go there all the time, but I never did any of the touristy things. We would go stay in some fancy hotel, we were wined and dined, and we'd fly home. So it was fun to do some of these things. Then it's back on board, and we've got 2 days as we sail home to Brisbane. This was really fun. We got to go on a cooking class where they made a garlic prawn risotto and a beautiful raspberry creme brulee. The executive chef did it for us. So that was fun. And then we got to walk through one of the galleys. So the restaurants on board are very large, and each of these restaurants has its own kitchen. So we got to do a full tour, walkthrough of the galley, which was fascinating. And we got given these facts on a little flyer. That was one of the few pieces that I actually got to put in there. On an average day, they wash 32,000 plates and 13,000 glasses. That's a lot of washing. French fries, 1,250 kilos of them. 2,800 dozen eggs. This is on average of a 10-day cruise. We were only on a 7, so to be a bit less. But I thought those stats were quite fascinating. 450 kilograms just of baked beans. That's a lot of food. They feed, I think, 2,500 guests can go on the Explorer. encounter, I should say. But that's all good. And then we, after that, we just went back up to the Oasis and spent some time chilling. And we'd seen a lot of people drinking this very pretty pink drink. So we decided we needed to work out which one it was, which we did. It's called Spring Break. Vodka, peach schnapps, Malibu, cranberry juice, and pineapple juice. Absolute 10 out of 10. I will be going to buy some peach schnapps and Malibu, and I have to make it. It was just a delicious, delicious drink. So that was great. We found a gorgeous new little place to sit and have coffee. Then it was Gatsby night, and honestly, they did back to school night, which I think was a bit of a flop. Very few people got dressed up. The ones that did do, they looked pretty cool, but the interest just wasn't there. They also did white night, which again, it's pretty basic. Everybody has something white in their wardrobe, and most people did wear white, but Gatsby night just blew me away. Now, I did go and buy a headband. Mum and I went and got one. So that we sort of looked the part, but my gosh, it's very rare that I would say I felt underdressed. I have never seen so many delightful gowns, men in the most beautiful black and white suits. They honestly, it was just a delight to sit there and people watch. We managed to get a little table for two that looked right down into the atrium. We just saw all the people wafting through. We saw the live band. And after that, when that was all done, hundreds of the staff were ushered through so that we could all clap and thank them for the journey. So that was a spectacular night, and I didn't know what to use as decoration, so I just grabbed my glitter pens out and drew myself a little feather headband there. And then it's our final day. We went down to the final sale. I didn't buy anything there, but then I had my eye on this delightful leather handbag, and I was going to go in and buy it, and then the assistant gave me $50 off. So my $169 bag was only $119. It is beautiful leather. It's fabulous. So that was a bonus. And then we found another cute little place you can go, because it does get windy on board. Even though you can see the sea was pretty calm, it's still very windy on board. So we found this delightful little lounge that has a bar, but it's also right next door to a cafe. I don't know how we missed it till the very end. Sat there with coffees, admiring the view, and one of the best lemon meringue pies I have ever eaten. And then I was back up on deck, and there was no rain around. There must have been a little bit further out. So I did capture this tiny little rainbow, very faint, but honestly, the weather was spectacular. So I sort of felt lucky to capture that one. And then for our last night, we went back down to my favourite bar called the Ocean Bar. Beautiful dark green furnishings and all these beautiful shell displays. So I felt very, very happy there. And we had our last dinner. Our suitcases were packed, ready to be taken away. And then by Friday, the 10th of May, we're already home. Unfortunately, I really could have spent a lot longer on there. It was a much nicer holiday than what I expected. I at one stage was a bit worried that P&O might be a bit old and buckety, but no, we couldn't believe it. We were very lucky, had the most delightful time, got my little disembarkation tag. This mermaid's heading home, I'm afraid. And of course, yes, I have had some of the body wobbles. It's been quite fun. All of a sudden, you just feel yourself swaying once you get onto dry land. So that's that. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed that. If you have any questions, pop them down in the box below. And until next time, stay safe and stay healthy. Bye for now.